All right, let's go in and look at an EC2 instance and spin up a deep learning AMI. This happens a lot if you're doing data science or machine learning, and the same technique could apply for anything like an Oracle database or a web server. It's good to be able to use an AMI that someone else created to save a lot of time for you. So in this case, I'm going to go through a hypothetical situation where I've actually been working on a machine learning project on my laptop. Maybe I'm a student and I ran out of resources. What I'm going to do next here is I'm going to provision a spot request. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to spin up a very powerful deep learning GPU that has all the right software installed for me. This happens all the time in programs that I teach at, so that's why I'm going to show this demo. So let's go ahead and request a spot instance. I'll select big data workloads. And from here, this is where I would select the AMI. It could be anything. It could be a custom AMI, running a build server or a web server. But in this case, I'm going to select a deep learning AMI that's running Amazon Linux. Next, I'm going to go through and change the instance type. I'm going to look for a GPU machine that can do deep learning. I'll go ahead and look here. This looks like a good one, this P3 8X large, and I'm going to be able to save 70%. So even using this very powerful deep learning machine, I'm going to be able to use it for, let's say, 5 or 10 cents because I'm billed by the second. Next, what I'll do here is I'm going to create my own key pair to connect to this instance. So let's go ahead and create a key pair here. I'll call this deep learning, and we'll say this CP for Cloud Practitioner. And next, I need to refresh this and make sure I select it. This is a very easy mistake to make. Okay, there we go, deep learning CP. I'm also going to need to make sure that I use a security group that has the port 22 opened up. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. We'll go through here and we'll create a security group. Again, I'll call this deep learning CP, and we'll say this opens up port 22, which is SSH, and then I need to add that rule, and I'll select this rule here, go to SSH. It's already pre-configured for me. The only other thing I need to do is go to source and say anywhere. That way, when I'm doing this prototyping, I can connect from my local laptop, or I can use something like Cloud9. Okay, now I go through here and I select that. Great. So now that that's set up, I can go back here, and this is a really easy mistake to make, is to forget now to select it. So let's make sure here that I've got that deep learning CP. Perfect. And also keep in mind as well that this key pair that we set up, those are the two real important ones to remember. Here's where I could put in a role that would give it more privileges, but I just need to do some deep learning, so I'll select that. And then from here, we'll leave this at target 1. If I wanted to do more, like 2 or 3 instances, I could select that. I'll go ahead and remove all these other options here. I only want this one type of instance. There we go. You can see I'm getting 70% off. And then from here, I can go ahead and do my request. Okay. Now I've been able to select that spot request, and I usually refresh it a few times to make sure that I've been able to get that request, and it should turn green if I do. There we go. It's pending fulfillment and fulfilled. Perfect. Now I can go to instances, and I'll name this instance that's pending right here. So I'll call this deep learning CP, and then I'll put the word spot. There we go. And next, what I'm going to do is, while that's spinning up, I'm going to go to Cloud9 here, and I'll go to the console, and I'll use a Cloud9 instance to connect to it. So open up another console, select Cloud9. And what's great about Cloud9 environments is that they allow you to upload files. So I'm going to go through here, and I've got this Cloud9 environment. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a PEM file here. So I've got another one from another project I was working on. I'll put a new one in here, open local files. We'll go ahead and select that. There's my deep learning PEM file. Perfect. And now I just need to follow these instructions about how to connect. So I'm going to leave this highlighted, go to connect, and I'm going to run these commands. Really, two commands is all I have to do. We'll go through here, and I will first run this command, which will change the permissions on this file so that the SSH protocol will accept it. And then I will do an SSH connection. You can see it's already populated it for me. We'll say yes. There we go. So now all I need to do is find out the version of Python that I'm going to activate. So in this case, this is a Python version that would be optimized for working with a GPU. I could select that, or I could select PyTorch or TensorFlow or MXNet. I'm going to go through here and select TensorFlow right here. This looks like a good one to use. We can see it's CUDA 9 and with Keras. Great. And so it's going to go through here and look at the hardware I have and just double check that it can install the right version of TensorFlow. So again, great use of my time, because I don't have to spend hours and hours getting TensorFlow installed on some spot instance and configure it. I can use a deep learning instance and it'll automatically set everything up for me. So this will take maybe about 30 seconds to a minute. And then what'll happen is I'll be able to go through and test it out by using the Python terminal and making sure that I can import the right library. So we'll give this just a second here. And you can see here that it's able to identify that this instance is a GPU instance. And so now what it's doing is it's going to optimize the deep learning libraries specifically for your machine. So this is a really complicated process that could take someone maybe even weeks to learn how to do. And I can take advantage of the experts at AWS that are doing all the hard work for me. And I can just focus on doing my deep learning and my machine learning. Great, this should take just a second, and then we'll go through and we'll test out and make sure that I can go ahead and launch a deep learning instance. All right, looks like it's about ready to do the final installation here. And again, what's handy is that I can see it right in front of me. I'll use the word IPython, which is an interactive version of Python, and I can typically then go through and do an import test. So I can say import TensorFlow as TF. That's a great way to test it. Great, looks like it's working, and now I know that that's working. We can stop the demo, but testing AMIs through spot instances and spinning them up for big data problems is a great skill to have, and this is what we've covered in this demo.